So many different kinds of people, so many stories to be told, so many ways to say I love you. So tell somebody you don't know, 'cause we could all be gone by tomorrow, just like a flickering flame. So if you get the chance to follow your heart, go ahead and hop aboard that train.
And we are live. Welcome to Lowcountry Radio. This is episode 4 of season 1. I am here with the great, the gorgeous, the wonderful, the intelligent, the charismatic, the funny, the well thought out and soft spoken Gregory Blaze. How are you today?
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I am well today. This week I have very easy to make. It's just a little bit of Captain Morgan spiced rum. Basically, it tastes like vanilla with a little bit of Sprite, so it tastes like a cream soda. If you do it with Coke, it tastes like a vanilla Coke. But there's not a lot in here. Trust me, because this is 1 o'clock on a Sunday, so I'm not that much of a degenerate. Easy to make, very drinkable.
I was expecting a drink from you today. I was not. It's 1 o'clock.
I have to do it, man. I planned this one out.
All right,
very drinkable, quite good. What are you going to get there, Tom? You don't have to drink because of me. I hope you know.
What did you say?
I said you don't have to drink because of me.
No, but you know what? It's Sunday. It's day of rest, and I will rest with you. No issues. Perfect.
This is more alcohol than I wanted today. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, I can.
Although I don't have a buzz this time, so I'm not gonna be nearly as talkative as I was last time. I had a wonderful conversation with you and
Jared.
Can't remember Jared. Yeah, after the call had ended. It was more like just me talking to you guys for like an hour.
And then he would come in and chime in and cuss a couple times, say something deep, and move on. I'll say what I'm drinking today. I'm having an Island Coastal Lager, pretty solid, low carbs, low calorie, and
all about that low carb beer.
All about that low. Look at this. Dropping the LPs left and right. So
I'm done with that. I'm. That's all I'm drinking for today.
Okay. Well, I've got a hockey game at 4:30. We're recording here at 1:30 Eastern, so or a little beer before, it'll be okay. But
it takes the edge off.
Take the edge
how'd the game go? How'd the game go last night?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I played goalie. I signed up. I usually try to play hockey like 3 days a week. I went Friday. I played. Or was that? Friday I played. Wow, I'm playing every day this weekend. So I went Friday. I played. I skated out, had fun. But I showed up in my goalie gear that Friday, and they were like, "Look, we already have 2 goalies. You can't play." So I was like, "Well, thank God I always keep my player gear in my car with me." So skated up. But then they said we do have a skate on Saturday from 6:30 to 8:45 if you want to go. I was thinking like 2 hours of skate, like, you always think like, oh, that's a good workout, whatever. No, I could hardly move. Like at the end, I was playing goalie because it's pickup, so there's no defense. So it's just back and forth, guys coming in, like odd man rush. I was exhausted, man. I could hardly move my limbs. First 45 minutes, I played like a brick wall, but then it just deteriorated afterwards. Just like I felt.
Brings me back to the days of Sinful Saints.
Oh man, they have.
We can talk about that after. That'll be our story for the.
Yeah, we can talk about the
for today.
I love the Sinners. I actually had something I listened to today. I always listen to podcasts in the morning. Every Sunday, I clean the house. I do the dishes. I do the dishes every day, but I really, I do all the dishes, vacuum the floors, kind of just tidy up, do my laundry. So I was doing that. I always listen to a podcast, and I was listening to one, and they were talking about the lady on The Mandalorian, the main actress. She got canceled.
Yeah, Gina Carano. I heard about
You
this.
know why she got canceled?
I believe it was for saying something about the Holocaust.
No, she got canceled because they were interviewing her and they were like, so like what happened? She's like, well, basically, like Disney made us in all of our like social profiles say our gender. So she put hers as beep boop as her gender.
That's kind of funny. I thought the whole thing why everyone was mad at her was because she said something about like how like the rise of the Nazis in Germany,
Mhm.
and like and then she's like hatred of your fellow countrymen like leads to this or something, some sort of thing like that. And it wasn't at all clear as to who she was talking about. It could have been either way, but you know her, so she's rather conservative, and that's what I heard. That's what I heard was the reason why she got fired. But the beep boop thing, that's just it's kind of petty.
An accumulation of things. I think it was the beep boop thing. I think it was the fact that she was a strong female character, actively conservative in Hollywood. I think also she kind of talks about the election fraud. I don't know if you saw that. She like briefly kind of just like tiptoed around that. Might have said some ambiguous things.
Yeah.
Voter ID cards, and she got canceled really fast, like really fast.
Yeah, it was. But she got picked up. I believe she got picked up by the Orthodox Jew. What's his name? Ben Shapiro. There we go. Yeah.
Ben Shapiro picked her up?
Yeah, Daily Wire, I think, picked her up.
What? That is a huge pickup for Daily Wire. I love how you think of Ben Shapiro as Orthodox Jew.
No, I was being sarcastic when I said that because they canceled her for saying something about Nazis, and it's like she's clearly a Nazi because she was hired by an Orthodox Jew.
Ben Shapiro, who always wears his yarmulke, on his head every single time he does anything. Dude, he is actually like. Have you seen his meme review on PewDiePie's channel?
No, I have not.
After this, and people watching of all ages, after this video, after this podcast.
Of all ages? Are you sure about of all ages?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Type up meme review Ben Shapiro on YouTube, and you'll get like a real human aspect of Ben Shapiro. It is so funny. It is so funny. He just reviewed that he's involved in, and it's cool.
That's kind of funny. I'll have to look that up afterwards. I don't much care for Ben Shapiro, but at least he's able to have a laugh at himself. A lot of people can't do that, and if you can poke fun at yourself, then you're doing well in my book. And anyways, what else happened this week?
Dude, I have it. This is a perfect tie-in. We're speaking about radio. We're talking about Ben Shapiro. He has this podcast empire. Daily Wire. What is it? Daily Wire Media, right? Is that it?
Yeah, I think it's Daily Wire Media.
I mean, they're exploding. You have Steven Crowder. You have Tucker Carlson. But who without Rush Limbaugh? Without him.
It's true.
Without him leading the way, I feel like we wouldn't have even as close to an independent platform for conservatives and liberals, like a political talk show, now without him. So
I think he is, I think talk radio is like in podcast movement. It was driven by him. He was like I'd say the pioneer of that, because he took over the AM station. AM is dead, and he took them over.
Yeah.
He's responsible for people like Andrew Breitbart, and Andrew Breitbart started Huffington Post. So we wouldn't have Huffington Post without Rush Limbaugh. So it's one of those weird things where it's the media landscape is different because of one man. I understand he'd been fighting cancer for like over a year now, so it wasn't unexpected. I
think it was a hard one.
Yeah, lung cancer. I believe it. Yeah, you're right. He used to smoke quite a bit, as I understood. But that's it's a loss for radio media and so we'll see what goes on from here. But he's certainly responsible for a lot of people's foray into media, and so
it was interesting to see. Man, I don't want to get on to politics and I don't want to get on a bashing aside, but the tolerant left stroke again. I don't know if you saw this. They had RIP struck. Yeah, the tolerant left struck again.
You're thinking of something else.
From my mind, I'm alone here at the house. Anyways, they had it was trending on Twitter. It's the only social media I have is Twitter, but it was trending on Twitter. RIP, rest in piss, Rush Limbaugh, and then
it always happens. I mean,
hell, they had all those things, but it was trending like nationally, and I was just like, come on, like,
no. Well, it happens. People like that's the problem is everyone. It's like people lose sight of the humanity in others. I remember watching. I remember like seeing a bit on like they were not too happy with Ted Kennedy,
right.
Mostly because his actions at Chippewa, I think it's Chippewa or something, where basically the woman that drowned in the car that he crashed off the side of the road. So it's if someone sees you as doing something wrong, they're it's unfortunate, but it's just the way life is. Wish people were a little bit more a little more tolerant of one another from both sides of the aisle, but it's just how it is. What else happened in the past since we last had a cast? Trump got acquitted. That was they were like, oh, we're going to call more witnesses, and we're going to call more witnesses, and the Republicans, I think, said, okay, our first person we're going to call is going to be, we're going to have a list of 300, and we're also going to call Nancy Pelosi, and they're like, okay, we'll just have the vote. But I think it would have gone very differently had it been a secret ballot. I think he would have been convicted by quite a large majority if it had been secret votes. So, not a fan of secret votes when it comes to our legislature.
I think something like that, your stance should be public. You know what I mean?
Oh no, yeah, but I think most secret votes shouldn't happen. Like, they're legislators. I see, like, I could see an instance where it makes sense, but I think that I think what happened was like Liz Cheney, the whole like allowing her to stay on her position in the committee, that was a secret vote, and she was allowed to stay. But it's not a big fan of secret votes. In terms of like, because they are our representatives. In other instances, I could see it being having a utility. But
Ted Cruz.
Oh yeah. Oh my. So much has happened in the past week. Dude. Oh Lord.
Okay. This is my whole thing. Ted Cruz has nothing to do with what's going on within the state of Texas. He does on a federal level, but like he's not the one calling the National Guard in to help people. If the guy wants to go to Cancun and get away from this, and he has the ability to do so, like I'm sure plenty of other Texans did, then like I don't understand what the big deal is. Like I don't get it.
I think it has more to do with the fact that he's your representative and he's supposed to kind of commiserate with you. This past week in Texas has been a rough one for some people. Very dangerous, very, very damaging. Pipes bursting. No water, no heat.
Right.
It's a tough time, and having your people that are supposed to represent you, supposed to commiserate with you, leaving, it's not a good look. Even if he was able to do the work he was going to do anyways from Cancun, it's still not a good look. He should have, when you become a public person like that, you shouldn't do those things. Like I don't
have an issue with it. Like if
other people do.
If you're in New Orleans, if you're in NOLA, as we call it, and Hurricane Katrina hits, and you're Ted Cruz, you're the Ted Cruz of Louisiana. Are people going to harp on you for staying in downtown?
Oh, yeah, I would harp on you for doing that. You should be out there helping. Like, come on. I'm gonna disagree with you on this one. It's all about optics when you're in public position, and that was bad optics.
But I think it's the optics are from people who are misinformed. I think if your job is to like, if you're the governor, that makes sense.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
right?
I also, yeah, and this whole thing with it's kind of funny. We talked about energy, like this happens that immediate week. Well, I think we can have I really want to have like a really long form show on like energies, like energy system, power transfer, and everything like that. I have a guy that could do that with us, but the whole like I think yesterday was when the national, or maybe Friday was when they finally declared an emergency. FEMA had sent them 60 generators or something like that. It's like there's too many people without power. Come on, like this is ridiculous. Like you should have been on top of this. This is a chance for the federal government to look good, and they missed it. I don't know. That's just dumb. Like these people with their house, like things getting like pipes being ruined, like destroyed, like no water, no ability to flush a toilet, nothing, like no heat, nothing, and running out of food. It's just that should have been a declared emergency from like day one. And there's a whole snafu with everything that happened there. Apparently some people are blaming the wind energy, and it also appears that a part of the reason is that, and also the gas was freezing in the pipes, like the methane gas. And I'd heard, I haven't found a source for this, but I'd heard from someone, mostly because I haven't looked, but I'd heard from someone that the reason why is because they relied on electricity instead of the gas to heat the pipes or something like that, to keep them. But we'll go more in depth on this topic once everything clears up and we kind of get the more larger view of the situation.
What is the temperature right now there?
I think it's warmed up. I think it's moved more to the east, but they broke some cold record temperature right there. So
I like that. Good for them, breaking records left and
right. Not the records you want to break, and at the cost of your water. Like I see some of the videos where like people's pipes would burst, and it's just water pouring into these things. And it's just like, oh my god, it'd be like you'd have an ice skating rink in a day. It's like indoor ice skating rink. But Texas don't know how to deal with ice because it's Texas. So, well, I'm not going to generalize them as a whole because it does freeze there sometimes. But anyways, what else? It's been a really, really busy, like, since we last talked.
Crazy.
News moves very quickly nowadays. It's almost like weekly podcast isn't enough, but
I mean,
who knows?
We could do 2 short episodes a week, 2 30-minute episodes a week.
Yeah, we could do that.
I don't mind. I kind of like the idea of moving to Sundays. Like Sundays, I feel like a lot.
I think
energy.
I think Sundays are. I think we're gonna keep it on Sundays for the time being. It's a good day to do it. You kind of news kind of slows down during Sunday. You don't kind of miss the weekend, like whatever happens on the weekend and stuff like that. And you kind of get to reflect on the past week of news.
Hockey news. They're playing right now. Maybe not right now. Maybe in like an hour. But they played yesterday. They played an outdoor game in Lake Tahoe, California. So I mean, they basically built the rink on the beach there, and the backdrop is insane. It is like something out of a video game. It's unbelievable to like. I didn't watch the first game. I might watch the game tonight if it's not during hockey, but I watched things on Twitter. I am like, it was awesome. It is so cool. The NHL for a long time doing stadium type things where they were like go to like, I don't know, like the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, or they go to Notre Dame, they play there, or they go to like Yankee Stadium, whatever. And that kind of like lost its appeal. But outdoors, so
outdoor, cool. Yeah.
I don't. The MLB is doing the Field of Dreams. Did you see that next year?
No, I didn't.
They're doing the Field of, like the movie, the Field of Dreams. They're building a ballpark in a cornfield, like the Field of Dreams. They're playing a couple of games. Kind of cool.
I like that idea. That's a fun way of changing up a little bit. It kind of reminds, like the outdoor ice skating kind of reminds me of that like video that was circulating around Instagram, like maybe a couple of years ago, where it was like these beautiful mountains in this lake that's like perfectly clear ice, and it's like this wonderful sunset. Oh my God, like must have been in Canada somewhere, but it was like beautiful.
It's I know exactly the video. It's in British Columbia.
Yeah.
Lake Victoria. They were going to actually play there. But because of COVID, they switched to America's version of Lake Victoria, which is Tahoe. They went there. So
that's got to be amazing. Like
couldn't
being able to skate on that and like and just like like having that seeing those videos of people ice skating on like places they shouldn't ice skate are kind of funny. Like, well, I saw this video of this one guy who's skating on this like it must have been a canal, and he goes over where the ice is clearly thinner. He just eats it right into the water.
No one's worried about him. No,
they're all like, oh,
or something, and he's like flying down this canal and goes right into the water,
like in his underwear. And everyone's like, oh no. It's like
crawling out of there.
That must have been such a pain. Oh Lord. You got anything else in terms of news?
I feel like President Biden the first couple weeks has been pretty quiet.
Minus all the minus all I heard that he's going to be doing he's kind of pushed Congress. He said he's told Congress that we need to I think it was on the 30th anniversary of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting. That he was going to push for. He needs Congress to push for more gun control. So that seems to be something they're going to move towards now. That all the flurry of the executive orders have gone out. So it seems like now he's going to try and he's going to go for the legislative push.
That's exciting.
Yeah. It's going to be. I mean, obviously, all the people that all the gun community on gun YouTubers are up in arms about it, and they're always a little bit of skies falling, but they take it seriously, and I respect that. So
pretty slow, I'm sure that's how they see it.
Right? Yeah, I mean, you have a it's written into the Bill of Rights, so obviously it's pretty well enshrined for some people. So another news, this is going to be a fun fact. I think this might be a segment we do from now on. I was reading the other day. This is entirely unrelated from everything else we've been doing, but it's something I found really interesting. It's how they talk, you ever seen that movie Poseidon where the ship gets flipped over from the big wave?
Yeah.
So I was actually I don't know how I stumbled upon it. I go on YouTube and I just go down rabbit holes. But they it was on the history of the rogue waves, right? And it was I think it was 1978 where there was a ship that had been going on a storm. It was a huge tanker, right? And it sunk, and they sent out a mayday, and they were looking for it, and they found these pins for a lifeboat that was 60 feet above the water line, and they'd been sheared backwards, right? And so they're like, well, something must have hit this pretty dang hard.
Right.
And they're like, well, and this was at a time where up until that point they thought that waves followed a linear model, so that the chances of it was like a large storm. The chances of it's the 1 in 500 year storm, so it was a wave that size would have been 1 in 10,000 years. As they found out later, it turns out to not be true. That's not how they work. But it had just basically sank this boat, and they lost all 28 hands on board. And later they measured back in the North Sea. There was the Dropner platform, right? And they'd been measuring the water, because scientists were kind of suspicious as to what was going on at this point. So they decided to put laser measuring so they could measure the height of the waves. And then I think it was 26-foot waves. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, and they call it the Dropner wave, there was an 86-foot wave that was twice as steep. So they kind of decided, well, so that's what we consider a rogue wave. A rogue wave is if it's the mean sea level, the top third of those waves is considered the significant wave height, right? So in the largest third of waves is considered the average of that. It's considered the significant wave height. And if you have something twice the size of that, it's considered a rogue wave, right? So you have like 30-foot swells, and all of a sudden you got an 80-foot, like 86-foot wave hit you, and like it actually did damage to the bottom side of the platform, and everyone's like, oh well, I guess we were wrong about that. So
Imagine.
yeah, that's why I was kind of thinking about it. I was like, could I be on a ship? Like, could I be on a tanker ship like that? Could I live on the sea? Because it used to be the thing everyone did back in 1800s when they were like, they want to do like adventure, they'd go out to sea and everything like that. And I don't think I could do it. I really don't. Like all those stories about like the Kraken, and it turns out there's like 30-foot it's like 30-foot body, but it's like its tentacles are way longer. But the giant squid, the colossal squid that have like hooks on them, and then it turns out these giant waves are actually a thing, and everyone's like, no, they're not real. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh wait, we're wrong about that. Like, and then they're like, well, if those are a thing, then what about the opposite, where it's like the maelstrom, where like it's like it's basically a hole, so it's the opposite. So it's like a giant like trough, and it's like. And the NOAA has actually looked back at the history, and they're like, yeah, there's 50 like quote unsinkable ships that have gone down that are like, yeah, they're probably because of rogue waves. And so they're like, and someone's like, oh yeah. And the thing about them is they're not like tsunamis where they build up in strength and like they last a long time. It's transient. So they're really big and then they just go away. So like they can happen out of nowhere, right? They're more likely to happen in rough seas. So like down in the Horn of Africa, yeah. and they can happen out in the middle of the ocean too. So it's like you're not safe from them. Like, I mean, but ships, like it's still safe as a ship, but like if you're in the middle of a storm and you have no way of getting to safety like quickly, like it can get hairy. I mean, so they stay out of the Horn of Africa because like the way the winds go against the prevailing current can cause it more often. And like other areas, they're also more prevalent during certain times. So they avoid them they kind of avoid those areas during rough weather. But also like, it can also happen in like large bodies, like any large body of water. So the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The SS Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is
like, yeah, so something that's unique to they claim is unique to and that people have claimed they've seen in the Lake Superior is the Three Sisters. So it's 3 large waves back to back, right? So they call them the Three Sisters, and everyone's like, no one knows what happened to the Edmund Fitzgerald because it was rough weather at that point, and they were 17 miles from where they needed to be, but they just went down. And if you look at it, like. You can't go down you can't dive at the wreck site because it's considered a graveyard. So there's no chance anyone's ever going to actually like investigate it unless they get a court. And I believe it's in Canadian water too, and so it's very unlikely that we'll actually get to the bottom of it like at all. But it's laying on the bottom of the of Lake Superior in water that is shallower than the boat is long, and it's like split in half at one point. So they think what happened was it actually like hit the bottom and snapped, and that's why no one like was able to make it out. But
wow. Well, Lake Superior is one of the only lakes in the world that never surrenders its dead. Did you know that?
Yep. I had not know that, but it makes sense.
I'm up there in Minneapolis. I went up to Duluth quite a bit, went hiking up there, and I almost got a job. I did get the job, but COVID stopped the job. But kayak tour guide, I would go on 5-day-long kayak trips with the Boy Scouts, take them out through the Apostle Islands of Lake Superior. But anyways, yeah, the average water temp, even during the summer, is in the 50s. And then in the middle of the winter, it's 30, 25, 30. It's not good.
That's cold.
Cold, yeah. But it doesn't surrender its dead. It doesn't surrender anything. If you go down in there, they're never finding.
Yeah, that's maritime stories, like they give me the like shivers sometimes. Like you hear about there's some creepy things that happen out at sea. Like you hear about people like what is it? You ever hear about this story? This is another one of those like fast back tangentials that I always have queued up. There's they tagged a great white shark. It's about a 20-foot great white shark, and it was a female. And they
Yeah.
you've heard this one? Yeah, they tagged a great
Yeah.
and off the coast of Australia, and they were tracking it, or well, the way the tags work is I think that it like you like once you capture them again and it's recorded the information. It could be so I think that's how that one worked, but it found washed up on the shore, and they're like, huh. And so they went back into the data, and they're like, oh, it was swimming normally, and all of a sudden it just like it dove down like several thousand feet, and the temperature got way warmer than it should have been on the out like for being in the water. And then all of a sudden it kind of just like eventually it floated back up, and it landed on the beach, and like something bigger ate this great white shark.
Oh
There's always a bigger fish.
Star Wars.
There's always a bigger fish.
Wow, like we landed on Mars. We had like that rover. Did you see that footage?
Yeah, I saw that footage. It was like the sound from Mars. That was crazy.
Oh yeah. Have you seen that YouTube video, the sounds of all the planets? We have recorded sound from every planet.
I know I haven't, but I have heard that we have the sound from the I think it's Saturn's moon Titan. And it's just eerie. It's just like it's eerie wind. You're like,
yeah.
But like you're like, oh, that's just wind. But when you think about it, it's like that's wind on a place that's like millions and millions of miles away. It's like when you actually think about what you're listening to, it's like it becomes like very significant. You're like, wow, like that's crazy. Like,
but why I bring up Mars is here we are, we're traveling into space. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We're talking about colonization. We know nothing about the ocean. We know nothing about it. We would have a failing grade on the ocean if we had to know everything about it. We know nothing. That is terrifying to me. Terrifying.
Dude, that, like the bottom of the like we know the like other planets better than we know the bottom of the ocean. It's just like, oh Lord, that's a little scary. I mean, all sorts of crazy things. Like, oh, I did a project on this in college. We're doing that thing about this was carbonate sedimentology. It's a geology class. Sounds very interesting. It was basically about how like corals and carbonate forms. And one of the things we had was corals, right? So I had to talk about corals, specifically deep sea corals, which aren't actually carbonate. They're made of glass. So but they're all over the bottom. Like we talked about this when we were off air the other day with Jared. But like there's people are like they found glass corals from as fossils, but they didn't realize how common they were. And it seems like there's actually quite a bit more glass coral like reefs all over the place, like especially in deep sea. There's some off the coast of I believe it's Washington or Oregon, like out in the Pacific. And they get and they're very slow growing, very, very slow, like much slower than coral. And they trawlers hit them because fish love hanging out on them, and they trawlers hit them and just destroy them. It's actually kind of sad. But and that's something we learned in the past 20 years. Like some of the things that is just wild. Like what's floating, what's living out in the ocean where it's good, it's smart enough to stay away. Like at one point we didn't even know that there was a colossal squid, and we're like, oh wait, colossal, the sperm whales eat colossal squids because they have the scar marks on it. It's just these squid that have hooks on them. That's just bizarre.
It's crazy. It's nuts. It's it's a nutty world. But I think that's a great place to wrap it up. We can talk about
simple. We'll bring it back to simple science. I kind of like talking more about just random stuff, random fast facts.
Same here.
It's my jam. I don't know if people that know me know I like talking about random facts that are absolutely useless to real life, but they're just interesting. Yeah. So yeah, back to the hockey thing. You're doing that. You've always been kind of like a hockey player, and I'll let you take this one off.
What do you want? Okay, so basically, me and my buddies, it's junior year, spring.
I think it was. Oh yeah. We did it senior year.
Yeah, we're sitting around. We're we tried joining the ACHA team, and the ACHA is the American Collegiate Hockey Association. And basically, if you don't have a D1 NCAA team or a D2 or D3, your school will have an ACHA team. And even some schools who have, like St. Lawrence, for example, our ACHA team sometimes feeds into our D1 team. So we were trying to get on that team, and we were on it. I was on it. Gabe was on it. Sussler was on it. We were enjoying ourselves. But their organization was terrible, and the season that we were on, we were suspended basically because of how terrible the whole thing is. And basically, the ACHA team is run by the frats on campus. So immediately, toxicity, not fun. So we're like, you know what? Let's make our own team. So we sat around, and I was like, all right, this summer, that's going to be my goal. I'm going to try everything I can. We had all these concepts. We were going to be sponsored by the pizza joint downtown, Little Italy. We were going to be like the St. Lawrence Squadra, which is Italian for squadron. We had some like cool, really cool logos set up. And, eventually we're like, you know what, let's stay school oriented. And what's something that kind of defines all of us and kind of defines like all of our friends and defines kind of our attitudes. And we're like, you know what, we're all sinners. So we're like, let's be the Sinful Saints, which we thought was awesome. And
the Saint, that was a really clever one, Sinful Saints. I love that. That was fantastic.
Yeah,
the logos were even better, dude. Those were amazing. Logos.
What I love, like one of my favorite things to do, and it's like not really a hobby, but something I if I'm really bored, I'll try to get the creative juices flowing and I'll create stuff. But I found there's an old defunct WHA team, which WHA played in the 70s and 80s in the United States, and there's an old team called the St. Paul Saints, and they folded. So I was like, oh, okay, I have all these databases where I can look at old defunct logos. So I found their logo. I was like, that's pretty cool. So I took that, changed the colors, put a beer can in the guy's hand, edited a little bit. Then I took another logo, changed that one, put our new logo on that logo's chest. And then I worked with a designing group. They designed hockey jerseys. We made these two sweaters that were just awesome. And we recruited, we worked hard, and then we joined that team, and we joined that league because we were so like quick. We were going to join the CHA, or maybe it was like the CHL, the College Hockey League. And that league is like Paul Smith, RIT, Clarkson, some other Albany, some other schools. We're going to join that.
Northern New York schools.
Northern New York schools. We were going to join that, but we were too late joining, and the commissioner of that league also runs another league in the North Country. He was like, how about you join the NHL? And we're like, what's that? The Northern Hockey. So we joined that, and we find out that league is populated with former pros and former like D1 college players. And it was interesting. You were allowed to fight in the league. It was like the movie Slapshot, but like a PG-13 version of Slapshot. It was wild. It was a lot of fun.
Well, and I think I would like every once in a while, Gregor, our friend, our roommate in college, and I would get dressed up, and we'll dress up as we get dressed up in suits, and we pretend like we're like, the coaches and the managers. We had no idea what we were doing, and like clear, it was like, if you like talk to us for a second, it was clear that we had no idea what we're doing. But everyone's like, "Yo, your coach is over there, like, coach, you're play off the ice."
You and explain to you guys the penalties like they do in the NHL. Like, I think
it was a lot of fun. I loved it. It was fantastic.
We would get fans, which was kind of cool. We'd have like 30 people in the stands, maybe. Like I think our first game probably had like 50 people, which it's kind of cool. We're playing in the D1 arena, this old barn built in 1918, Appleton Arena. It was before it was renovated, so it was kind of neat. And I think we played like something like 42 games a season. So on top of rowing twice a day, double majoring, trying to graduate, and doing that, I was a strung out individual, but I still found time to do everything I loved.
Isn't that what college is?
Yeah.
if you excuse me, if you don't mind telling me what was the win-lose streak.
Oh man. It all started at home opener, and we're playing against wow.
It was the Pizza Boys, right?
No, it was some other team. They were good. They came in like second place that year, and we played them. We lost in overtime to them, 2-1. And I was furious. I was like, gosh, come on, like why can't we like beat any of these teams? And I think we had like a 15-20 game losing streak at some point, until we realized there was another team that was just as bad as us. And we got hot at the end, and we actually made the playoffs, and we had to play the number 1 team, which was Sergi's. And
Sergi, the Pizza Boys. Yeah, so they're the rival pizza joint.
Yeah, they murdered us. They slaughtered us like sheep. It was not good. But the team sucked. But when we would play, the team sucked considering that everyone in that league played at a really high level, but like we were just like college guys. But when we played, we scrimmaged against Paul Smith's, which was in that CHL league. We scrimmaged against them. And I remember, this is awesome. We played for the Adirondack hockey trophy or whatever. And they ran it out.
Oh yeah, you bought that hockey trophy.
They were like, we'll rent out the arena, you get the trophy. I was like, sure, no problem. So I got the trophy, so I knew we were gonna keep it. I got a nice trophy for us. They rented out this beautiful barn in Tupper Lake, which is this gorgeous long lake in the middle of the Adirondacks. And they filled out probably like 1,000 people in that stadium. Like
oh my God.
Yeah, they filled out the stadium. It was like their homecoming game, basically. They filled out the stadium. They had PA announcers. They had everything. It was like the most serious game I've ever been in. They had fans, like literally 1,000 people there, and it was packed. And it was like their senior night, I think. It was like a huge thing. And I remember we pumped them. We beat them 7-2. It was like our only blowout win of the entire year. It was awesome. And like
I remember that night because I remember seeing people walking around with a trophy with some beer in it. So
yeah, we were fired up. We were so excited. That was the night we had the angst party.
Oh yes, I do remember that.
I had that turtleneck, and I had like fake tattoos on my face, and
we dressed like I think all of us as a suite, we nailed that. Like it was like
it was awesome.
It was perfect. There's a photo floating out there somewhere, but I think it's on Instagram or something like that of all the 4 of us in this, like, our angst clothes. It was big. That was, great time. So I love that. Like if you guys didn't do well, it was really entertaining going to those games and just like pretending to be a coach.
Yeah, I mean, like, we never would lose. The worst part was we wouldn't lose by like 2 goals. We always lose by like a goal, and like we just couldn't do it. I think it was just they're still playing. One of my most proud things, I left a stamp on St. Lawrence. They still play. They have a bunch of guys. They're like, the team is moving forward. They're progressing. It feels cool. I feel like I made something there. So,
I distinctly
is terrible. It's terrible.
You shouldn't let them do it. You should have made a charger where they couldn't change the loadout.
Texted the captain who is the captain now on the team. I texted him today, and I was like, you have to remove that logo. It is dog shit. You have to get rid of it.
I think that's the podcast for this week. So it was great talking to you.
Yeah.
And for everyone listening, oh man, I don't like that.
I don't like it either. Anyways, yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. It was an awesome podcast. Greg, thank you again.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction earlier.
Yeah. Anyways, that was episode 4 of Lowcountry Radio. I don't know what I'm gonna name it this time. China wasn't even brought up one time, so that's huge.
No, it wasn't.
That's big.
We're making baby steps,
Baby steps. But yeah, anything to say, Greg?
Nope, that's all for me. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and see you next time.
Have a good night, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Farther below Lake Ontario takes in what Lake Erie can send her. The iron boats go as the mariners all know, with the gales of November remembered. In a musty old hall in Detroit, they prayed in the Maritime Sailors' Cathedral. The church bell chimed till it rang 29 times for each man on the Edmund Fitzgerald. The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down of the big lake they call Gitchagumi. Superior, they said, never gives up her dead when the gales of November come early.